Hey, this is from PhobiaFacts.com. Today we have a list of fears and phobias related to work, your everyday workplace. The first one is the most obvious of them, ergophobia. It's the fear of actually being at work, or fear of work itself. A lot of people have that fear because they're afraid of their jobs now. They're afraid of who they're going to meet. They're afraid of who they're going to run into. They're afraid of losing their job. Afraid of not having enough money from their job. People have lots of problems with jobs nowadays. But if you really despise it, then you probably would have ergophobia, which is the actual fear of work. The next one on the list is ophthalmophobia, which is the fear of being stared at. So if you're a guest in a store, like department store or retail store, or you're running a mill like Family Dollar type deal, like a little mom and pop store, if you have a fear of being stared at, you should probably not be there, or it should probably not look suspicious at all either. I mean, I've walked to stores looking suspicious and people stared at me, and it's not a fear of being stared at, but it was quite annoying. So I can just imagine if I was terrified of that, then I would probably just go completely bonkers. Alright, now let's go to the next one. We go to phobia. Phobia is pretty much the fear of teenagers. Yes, teenagers. Teenagers are terrifyingly scary. Why? Because they can be either really quiet and shy, or they can be over the top, tattooed up, yelling. They look suspicious all the time. Teenagers are terrifying little individuals. And some of them are not even that little. Some of them are like gigantic, or like really small, or really medium. It's just the range of teenagers. I understand why someone would be afraid of them, but to actually have a fear associated to them, sounds a little too much. But I'll leave the comments for you guys, because that's my opinion anyway. You have lygrophobia, which is the fear of loud noises. A loud bang, a loud scream, a halt. But you can hear that everywhere, like, thunder strikes. You can hear it at work when someone drops something, breaks something, have a loud argument with some of your coworkers in the background. There's a lot of different ways to have that noise. So the next one is mechanophobia, which is the fear of machines. So mechanophobia is, like I said, the fear of machines. So you have the computers, like a register, a printer, a fax machine. There's so many ways you can have that fear. So many different options. So depending upon where you work, you could be very terrorized. You should not be a construction worker, that's for sure, because actually I'm afraid of big machines, like construction machines. I always think something's going to happen to me. Something really bad is going to happen to me. It probably won't, but you never know. Another fear will be lizomechanophobia, which is a fear of computers. Lizomechanophobia is not only a very specific one, but it's very interesting in itself. You're afraid of computers as to either A, afraid of the long term that computers are going to take over the world and you're going to be outsourced by a computer. 2, or 3, you can just be afraid of messing up a computer and being blamed for it. I mean, I've done that before. I've messed up computers. I'm messing up this computer now. I mess computers all the time. It's not my fault. It's really not. Alright, so we have nomatophobia, the fear of names. I'm not sure about the fear of names itself. Maybe it's the fear of learning new names, learning too many names at a certain time, the fear of forgetting people's names. I think that would be a pretty big fear, like just forgetting someone's name. You knew you talked to this person. You know you had a conversation with this person, his coworker or something, but then you forget them almost immediately. It just happens. Like, if you can't pronounce a name that's horrible, then you don't want to say the name the wrong way. So it was like, alright, bye guy, or bye lady. So that definitely does make a lot of sense. You have mysophobia, the fear of being contaminated with dirt or germs. So you want to hand sanitize everything. You want to wash your hands all the time. But then you might look like a crazy person if you're doing that so often. So people say, oh yeah, you have OCD, or you just have a thing for germs. But no, some people are really afraid of dirt and germs. I mean, people actually, I've seen people not touch things because it appears to be dirty. And these, half the time, are the same people who have children who throw up and poop everywhere. Like, that's what children do. So how are you afraid of a little dirt and germs that will be on, like, a piece of paper, or, like, an old TV, or something like that, or a remote? And then you have little monsters that are throwing up, or, you know, spitting by accident, or sneezing on you, or coughing into your face. It's another one of those weird things. It happens. Alright, let's move on to the next one. You have mythophobia, which is the fears of myth or stories or false statements. That's the real big thing right here. It's the fear of false statements. Now, think about it. If you're at work and it's boring, you're talking to someone that's extra boring, I'm positive they're not actually telling you the truth. I'm positive they're probably lying to you. I am positive they're not telling you the exact thing that happened to them. Like, you talk to someone like, so I was up on gutter the other day. It was probably not the other day. It was probably like last week, 3 weeks ago, earlier today. You know, if you're afraid of someone actually lying to you, then you should probably not talk to anybody. Like, it's just something that's going to happen, something that's bound to happen. So you should probably watch not how, but who you talk to, because some people are more inclined to than others. Alright, now let's move on to apresophobia. Apresophobia is the fear of smells or odors. Yeah, that in itself is pretty nasty. I wouldn't have a fear of that, but I guess if you're going to a room that you assume the smell really bad, then yes, definitely, I understand. I understand your phobia. It's okay. I wouldn't want to be in a room that smells really bad. I wouldn't have a fear of it, but I would definitely have a problem with that. I can't see how many people would actually be okay with smelling a really bad smell or odor. It's pretty weird. Alright, how about emetophobia, which is the fear of eyes, which in itself is interesting, because I guess it coincides with the fear of being stared at. So, eyes are weird things. I wouldn't be afraid of it for the simple fact that everyone has it. You look at yourself and you have them. So, alright, the last two on the list is paralipophobia, which is the fear of neglecting duties or responsibility. You should not be at work if you're afraid of neglecting duties or responsibility, because you're eventually going to forget to do something, and then you're gonna panic and realize you have forgot those things, and you're gonna freak out all the time. So it would probably make the job you probably are afraid of being at into the stress-filled environment into which you are stuck at. Because if I go to work and I forget to lock up the keys, forget to put paperwork away, I forget to make sure everything's cleared off completely, or I forget, oh, my water bottle's at work, or things related to that, then my responsibility and duty is legitimately to make sure my station is cleared, everything is kept in a safe place, and everything's done accordingly. If I forget any of those things, I'm not going to live to see the next day. So I'm going to obsess about it, I'm going to forget about it, and I'm going to freak out about it. Oh, well, at least two of those things are going to actually happen. And the last, but not least, is the onomatophobia, the fear of hearing a certain word or names. So I actually don't know who would be a part of this situation here. I have onomatophobia. I have the fear of hearing certain word or phobia or names. So you're afraid of hearing a certain word particularly, or a series of words, like a phrase. So I'm actually not sure about that at all. Well, that's the end of this session. This is PhobiaFacts.com, and I'm Tom. So you guys have a nice one. Check out the the link to PhobiaFacts.com. I have a growing list of phobias there, and that's where you'll be able to. Last but not least, I have onomatophobia, which is the fear of hearing a certain word or a phrase of words. So you can either hear like, oh, at work, so it could probably be like, oh, you're fired, or you're not doing this right, yeah, I don't like you, stuff like that. Bad news overall. Or it's interesting. Well, it's not my phobia, so I really can't elaborate on it. So that's pretty much the last one on the list. So you guys, alright, so you guys definitely subscribe. I'll be throwing more videos up. I will be doing a lot of cool stuff. Probably not. But this is PhobiaFacts.com, and I'm Tom. Subscribe. My website, I have the full list of phobias there. That is constantly growing. I'm still adding more on. And obviously I'll have more content on there. I'll have articles on there. So definitely you guys should check it out. Alright, this is Tom, PhobiaFacts.com. You have a great day.